One more kaboom day for the Russian Federation. Ukraine has launched a massive drone strike hitting many of the Russian very critical military targets. This picture was taken from the Russian ammunition warehouse Kotloban, which is located in the Rostov Oblast, bordering Ukraine by the way. The fire was also spotted in the Russian military airfield Millerova, the same Rostov Oblast. By the way, it's not the first time that Ukrainian drones hit this particular facility. Russians report that they've shot down all of the drones and there was no harm done to their airfield. However, at the same time, we see that NASA satellites detected the fire on the territory of that military airfield. Well, at the same time, we see that one of the Russian ammunition depots wasn't really damaged, there was the fire just near to it. Well, maybe Ukrainian drone was shot down, or maybe there was the Russian air defense system which was hit by the drone. Well, anyways, it's just a matter of time that this facility will be kaboomed as well. Hello my friends and welcome, my name is Dennis and this is the latest update from Ukraine. Let's go. Yeah, sorry guys, I didn't publish the video yesterday because I had the severe pain, the tooth pain. I didn't know that it could be that severe actually. Luckily I visited dentist and everything is fixed. Yes, not 100%, but still I can speak at least. So what was the Moscow's reaction on the Ukrainian massive drone attack? Because it happened after Russia implemented its new nuclear doctrine, nuclear strategy, in which they include that they can use their tactical nukes or other nukes against the country which is attacking Russian Federation with the drones. There are also missiles and the country should be supported by the nuclear countries. So Ukraine is supported by many of the nuclear countries like France, UK and United States of America. Well, we see that after the strike, the nuclear war hasn't yet been started, and the Kremlin spokesman came out with excuse from Putin's side. Well, basically they again confirmed that they implemented the new nuclear doctrine and they want to show the Western countries the true red lines of the Russian Federation, but at the same time in the speech Peskov said that they will not respond using nukes on Ukrainian drone strikes. Wow, so why did he put the drones in the doctrine anyways? Well, actually it doesn't matter what Ukraine would use against Russian missiles, drones, whatsoever. Putin doesn't want to use nukes, that's it. Well, at least at this stage, Putin really likes his lifestyle and his life as it is. And you know, the countries which are now more or less support the Russian regime by trading with Russia like India and China, they do not support using nukes by Russia at all. You see, China has nukes, India has nukes, and Pakistan has nukes. And there is the conflict between India, China, India and Pakistan. And there is still no compromise over those territories. So by using nukes, Russia might open the Pandora box in which conflicts could be resolved by using nuclear weaponry. And for those three countries, it's damn critical, because if they start a nuclear war against each other, it will spark the significant food crisis, and not only it is a direct threat for the Chinese communist regime and also for India. About Pakistan, well, it's hard to say, but if nuclear war sparks here, hundreds of millions of people would lose their lives and the future of the countries is uncertain. So never ever those countries will permit Russia to use nukes against Ukraine. They'll do everything, I think, with Putin personally if they would think that Putin is so crazy to start the nuclear war. Putin doesn't want those troubles and also he is scared about his own life, so I don't think that he will use nukes in Ukraine. Maybe he wants to escalate by hitting Ukrainian nuclear infrastructure like nuclear power plants, well, not directly the reactor buildings, but they will hit some of the substations and wire infrastructure, disabling the energy transfer to consumers. And that's how they want to lower the morale of Ukrainian population, and actually it works after all. Because the life without electricity, well, it's really difficult if not impossible, and the only energy infrastructure left in Ukraine is nuclear infrastructure. And you know, this September is the first month since the beginning of the war that Russia struck Ukraine every day with their missiles and drones. Yeah, some days they use just few of the drones, but sometimes huge amount of the drones, and all of that was shot down by Ukrainian air defense, but many drones made it to the targets. It means that Russia intensified its terror against Ukraine. Guys, if you want to support the job that I do on YouTube, you may do it via Patreon. I'll put the link for my Patreon page right in the video description below. Thank you so much for maintaining my motivation. Now let's go briefly to the front lines and hear the situation without changes in the Kursk Oblast. The Russian assault or counteroffensive operation failed. I would say they are now concentrated more or less on this part. They want to push Ukrainian forces out from this place at first and then continue their assault. To seize the Ukrainian secondary attack, they use mostly aviation gliding bombs. But Ukraine uses the same stuff as well. For example, in Glushkovo it was reported that Ukrainian bombs hit one of the Russian tanks and caused some local devastations. By the way, most of the locals left Glushkovo because now it's a war zone. And it was confirmed that Vesely has not yet been taken by Ukrainian army. Still, there are some of the Russians inside. It's in the gray zone. The fighting is ongoing. For now, the forces which Ukraine has are not enough to break through the Russian defense in this place. But at the same time, Russia doesn't have enough resources to get rid of the Ukrainian attacks. So the situation is mostly standstill, but the front lines are boiling in Kursk. In the Kursk direction, Russia lost its T-90M Prorыв tank, the best Russian tank which they use in this war. It was spotted by Ukrainian surveillance drone and later on was just annihilated. And Russians also lost this machine in the Kursk region. This is the tank, the hangar tank, with the anti-mine flag. The name of the tank was Mihai, and at first it was stopped by something, maybe by the mine or maybe by the FPV drone. Later on was kaputted. Here's kind of the interesting case with the Russian propaganda journalist Denis Kulaga. He was just driving on this all-terrain vehicle full of the electronic warfare. You may see lots of the antennas at the back, in the front. Also maybe you can see it on the side, but it didn't help. They were kaputted by the FPV drone. It means that Ukrainian FPV drones are really robust against the Russian anti-drone warfare. Denis, however, was just wounded. He was delivered to the local hospital with many of the wounds and shrapnel. The destiny of the driver of this all-terrain vehicle is unknown. In the Kursk Oblast, Russia tried to perform the big assault and they moved towards Ukrainian positions, but all of them were stopped by Ukrainian FPV drones. For the obvious reason, I cannot post everything on YouTube because of the censorship. And now let's go to Ukrainian front lines. The most hard situation for Ukrainian army is now in Vuhledar. It was a couple of days ago and it is today. As you see, Russia moved from the east. They also went to the town occupying the part of it, and they continue to complain that the Ukrainian army is still there. There are snipers and soldiers, so the aviation bombs didn't help Russia to get rid of Ukrainian forces. The Russian military bloggers complained that the forces of the Russian army were sent to Vovchansk too early. And they say that also Ukrainians were there and Russians lost one MTLB. It's the infantry vehicle, and also Russia lost one tank in attempt to storm Vuhledar. So fabulization, it means the aviation bombing didn't help them a lot. And it is understandable because in Vuhledar there are lots of the basements, the places for hide for our guys. But I think that they should receive the order right now to leave the place, because Russians may move from this direction encircling the town. Well, actually some of the pro-Russian bloggers already say that Vuhledar is being encircled by Russia, but it's not true. And we have this video posted by Russians. It's definitely from Vuhledar. It shows that Russians took control over several of the buildings. Well, it also means that they will use less of the aviation bombs. Probably they now go with their infantry forces. In Pokrovsk direction, the Selidova town is under the threat from the Russian side. As you can see, for the last couple of days, Russia moved quite a lot. It is understandable that they want to assault towards the settlement from the northern part, as well as from the south, by the way. But there is some evidence that it's not going well for the Russian forces. Russia sends their motorcycle attacks. My friends, I usually share those kind of the videos on my Telegram channel, and this time the motorcycles were kaboomed together with the Russian infantry. This is also from Selidova direction. This is the Russian BTR-82 with lots of the infantry inside, and it was kaboomed. Same stuff as usual, FPV drones do a fantastic job. In the tourist direction, the Azov regiment does the great job hitting many of the Russian vehicles. This Russian attack was stopped. I don't know what it would be if Ukrainian army didn't have the drones, because drones are crucial. It is a game changer of the war, and most of the battalions are capable to stop the Russian army assaults using just drones. And this image is again from Selidova, where Russia tried to attack with many of the vehicles. And here we go with the image from the FPV drone. You understand what happened to those vehicles. So we have tons of those kind of the videos. It shows that the advancement of the Russian army brings them severe losses. It's not the easy walk for the Russian army, and they definitely suffer. I guess that Russia, after all, will have to announce a new mobilization. By the way, they already did it today, but for the Russian conscripts, so 2 times per year in spring and in autumn, Russia hires around 130,000 new Russian men into their army. The Russian army continued to say that the conscripts are not taking part in this special military operation, as they continue to call this war, but somehow Ukraine was capable to imprison lots of the Russian conscripts and later on exchange them for Ukrainian soldiers. By the way, if you didn't know, in Moskva ship, the flagship of the Russian Navy, which was sunk by Ukrainian Neptune missiles, the most of the losses were among the conscript sailors. Yes, Russia hires the conscripts even for their sophisticated military ships, because there is lots of the job need to be done by unqualified personnel. So today Russia announced that they will hire 138,000 new conscripts to the army, and later on Russia also proposes for their conscripts to sign contracts with the Russian army. Around 30% of the conscripts usually do it, and later on they're sent to the war in Ukraine. I guess they will also be sent to protect the Russian border, as it happened in Kursk. The head of the Ukrainian military intelligence probably will resign from his position, or he will be resigned by Zelensky. Well, I guess that those rumors are more or less correct, because recently we spotted lots of the PR movements from Davydov himself. He went to the front lines, showing many of the videos and pictures from the spots. I think he went to the Kharkiv direction, not far away from Volchansk. He tries to appear more in the media. It means that he doesn't want to leave his position. If you ask my opinion about Budanov, well, it changed a little, not to the good side, after many of the failed Ukrainian operations actually conducted by the Ukrainian military intelligence. I am speaking about the failed landing operations in Crimea and also in Kimbersky Peninsula recently, where Ukraine lost quite a lot of the army men. I personally consider those as the useless operation which led to the human life losses, and probably because of that Zelensky wants to dismiss Budanov. Bloomberg came out with an article saying that the current ceasefire is not profitable for Ukraine and Western allies at all. That Russia potentially in this case might reach its goals. Russia needs to stop the fighting just for some time to reform its army. Guys, I am telling you that story all the time on my videos, that Russia doesn't really want to stop this war. They want to occupy all of the Ukraine. But with their current army, which is now mainly exhausted, they are able to achieve just limited goals, taking few of the villages. If we speak about the strategy in general, Russia doesn't have any chances to occupy all of the Ukraine. That's why they are seeking for alternate solutions to disturb the military support of Ukraine or to cause in Ukraine the internal riots. That's also the option. You know, I don't really like the current Ukrainian government, but I understand that the replacement of it will bring uncertainty to Ukraine. That's why for now, let it be as it is. Putin will just use its political uncertainty to achieve his goals. Well, if the mainstream media says that the ceasefire is not the option and will bring more harm than good, it means that our allies are determined to support Ukraine, I guess. Other sources write that Ukraine has the chance to achieve military success the next year, again with adequate support during this winter to prepare for the summer campaign. One of my favorite YouTubers was freed from the Russian prison today. Awesome! Andrei Pish, so-called M-Sha, he has his YouTube channel Urban Tourism. Yes, it's in Russian because this is the Russian blogger. However, he moved to Ukraine even before the full-scale war has started. He was jailed because he was filming about the Moscow 2 metro system, so Russia thought that he was transferring this secret data to Ukrainians. However, he was just preparing his new video on his YouTube channel, but Russia jailed him for 5 years. So 5 years expired and he is now freed. He said that he will continue filming, but I guess he will move out from Russia just not to be under this huge risk. I watched him at first because he filmed kind of the interesting series about Chernobyl zone. And his explanation, I would say, is the best out there on YouTube, which you may find, but again, it's in Russian. Russia doesn't need YouTubers like M-Sha, they need those kind of the singers as Shaman, who recently said that iPhone designers probably were inspired by Tchaikovsky or some of the Russian culture producing their iPhones and other technology. It's kind of a strange explanation. It was the excuse for him for using iPhone and saying that Russia is the best out there. Kind of the interesting video filmed by the onboard camera of F-16 of the United States Air Force and how they intercept the Russian strategic bomber Tupolev 95 not far away from Alaska. Well, there was also the Russian fighter jets Hu-35 which performed a dangerous maneuver. Let's watch it. So let's watch this video. Here we go. This is the Russian fighter jet. It was damn close to this airplane. Also, we have the fisheye camera. The distance was much closer than it looks on the video. Once again, look at this distance. It's really nothing, especially with this bank angle, more than 90 degrees. It's just a reckless flying from the Russian side. They want to make some sort of the provocation against the United States Air Force. I guess that for the United States pilots it was kind of itchy to pull the trigger here because a Russian jet appeared in the front of the airplane, an absolutely perfect target for the machine gun. Yeah, obviously the Russian fighter jet Su-35 is much better compared to F-16. It uses way better technologies, but in this close proximity fight, I guess F-16 has the chances. Sorry about the quality of this video, but it was posted in internet. Those are Merkava tanks, lots of them getting ready, allegedly, to assault the southern part of Lebanon. Those tanks were filmed by eyewitnesses. I wonder if it is a fresh video or not, but Israel, according to many of the sources, is really getting ready for the ground operation in Lebanon. I guess it's the best time for them because there is no head of Hezbollah movement. My friends, now please don't forget to press your huge like to this video. By doing so, you help me a lot, and as usual, I wish you all a peaceful sky wherever you are, and have a great time.